Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for July 10, 2018. We'll start with introductions. I'm John Hutchings. Chair Commissioner Blake is excused today. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. Yep. And Clerk of the Board, La Bonita Bomar. County Manager Ramiro Chavez. Assistant County Manager and Financial Guru Rami Campbell. And so with that, Commissioner Edwards, you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I would, sir, but I think Council Member John O. from down in Tenino is going to lead us.
My pleasure. Please join me in our pledge to our this great country. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, approval for Tuesday, July 10th, 2018 agenda. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, aye. That passes. Approval of the board meeting minutes from June 26th, 2018.
Yes, I move to approve the board minutes from June 26th,
Second.
2018.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Presentations on the agenda now. Presentations. We have Human Resources, Katie Gerard. Yep. Okay, come on up. You're going to introduce someone to us. I don't want to give it away.
Good afternoon. I'm here to introduce the new Administrative Assistant for the Human Resources Department, Dawn Grummer. She started with us on June 18th. Came to us from the state of Washington, having spent time at both the Department of Labor and Industries and the Agriculture Department. She is highly skilled in data and analysis, has done a lot of work on policies and procedures and administrative processes, and is also a longtime Thurston County resident. So I'm happy to introduce Dawn Grummer.
Welcome, Dawn. Yay.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being able to come out here and get to see everybody's faces, and I'm really excited about this opportunity. I have just always had some real interest in HR, and so I'm really excited to have Katie have brought me on, and they've already got me running on some projects, so I'm really happy and appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Welcome.
Anything else?
Just welcome. Thank you.
How long did you work for the state, Dawn?
10 years in total.
10 years.
Yes.
We'll fix you.
Okay.
We'll try to teach you to get it right.
Oh, good. I think I might need it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Katie.
Also,
Katie, you're going to teach us about cause for applause.
yes. So not long after I started here at the county, we did a survey of our county staff to get some input on what they'd like to see in the way of employee recognition. So some of the things we've already started is that Public Service Recognition Week, where we do our events and have our Spirit Week and just have a little fun that first week of May. One of the other areas that we've been working on, and this has been a little bit of a labor of love, but we're finally ready to launch, is the Cause for Applause program. When we did the survey, there was about 84% of the staff that responded to that survey really wanted an informal peer-to-peer recognition opportunity. And so we've created these cards. There's 4 different designs. They say, awesome job, thank you, superstar, and above and beyond. And so it's just an opportunity for someone to take a card, to thank their coworker, their supervisor, someone in another department, to make sure that people feel recognized for the great work that they do. We added the mission and vision of the county to the card to kind of reinforce that message across the county. And then what we're going to do with these is every quarter people will send in an email to the HR office to be entered into a drawing. And so we're going to have lots of different prizes available for staff. The first drawing will occur in October, and we'll make it a part of this meeting so that the residents of Thurston County can hear some of the great work that's happening here at Thurston County. So I just wanted to officially launch the program. We've started to distribute the cards through the offices and departments, and we'll be doing an email blast to all of our staff to make sure that they know that this is available, to just create that environment of respect and encouragement and make sure that people feel valued here at Thurston County. So with that, do you have any questions?
Yeah. No? Yes?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No. You have a question?
No, Katie, I just want to thank you for doing that bit extra. And I'd say a little bit, but it's a substantial bit that makes Thurston County a great place to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get a card and fill it out.
And fill it out, huh? Okay.
We will be providing you a stack of cards, and we'd love it for you to participate. And remember, I think last year when I talked about this, you guys offered coffee with the commissioner as one of the prizes. So we'll see if anyone wants to
okay.
take you up
I
on
don't remember
that.
that part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Katie. Now we're to the point of the agenda where it's an opportunity for the public to address the board. However, before you do that, I've got some rules or general guidelines. And number one, I just want to make it known that when someone addresses, when a member of the public has a public comment, that's not a time for us to have public discourse about the issue or debate. It's public comment. We be quiet. We listen. County staff writes down information. We may write down information for follow-up work, but it's not the appropriate time for us to respond. A lot of people wonder, well, how come they didn't answer my questions? Well, because this is the time for that. It's not the right venue. So with that, speakers are given a total of 3 minutes to address the board. The timer's up here, and after that you'll hear a microwave ding, and that means your time's up. But if you are mid-sentence, we'll let you finish, obviously. Meeting attendees cannot donate your speaking time to another person, like they do in the Congress. Say, I yield the remainder of my time. No, we don't do that. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. Please silence your cell phones. No comments that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promoting a nonprofit business. No comments that are inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory. Please, no comments from or about candidates for election. And remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. And we thank you very much for adhering to these rules. So with that, we'll look at the list here and see what we have. The first one on the list is Todd Sventon. And come on up, Todd. Thank you, sir. And you've got the podium. Just raise that microphone, would you please, so we can pick you up. And
Okay.
Your time will start as soon as you start. What did I miss? Hang on. We're just adding. Okay. Thank you. Go.
Okay, so my name is Todd Tvetin. I live in Rochester, Washington. First of all, I would like to thank the commissioners and all the staff here for this opportunity to speak and to thank all of you for the work that you do. I think I've watched more of your YouTube broadcasts than anybody else, and I know that you guys have challenging jobs, and I appreciate the way that you approach things. I am here today to kind of give the commission and anybody who may choose to view this or hear the minutes of this an update on my project and share a concern that I have that the county is in violation of the state constitution regarding the taking and damaging of personal property. On March 20th, 2017, 477 days ago, I came here to the Permit Assistance Center, super excited with my father to start the realization of a lifelong dream of building a home on property that's been in our family for 50 years. This property, as I mentioned, has been owned by my father for over 50 years. Since we've acquired it, he had all myself and my brothers out there. We're pulling Scotch broom, we're pulling tansy, we're getting rid of the woody underbrush. We worked our tails off to make this a beautiful piece of property. Unlike the surrounding properties who have left it to the Scotch broom, to the tansy, to overgrown Christmas tree farms, but as a reward for this, they don't have the problem that I do. I'm not able to get a permit due to the presence of pocket gophers. Because we've appreciated the wildflowers and stuff like that, I feel like we've been punished. For the sake of time, I can provide you lots of details, but I'm going to kind of skip ahead. So 477 days ago, I started with a dream and a piece of property zoned in Thurston County, rural residential, 1 home per 5 acres, and valued by the county assessor's office at $61,700. Today, following the county's, I call it advice, Todd, if you want to build, here's what you need to do. I've spent over $19,000. I have a 105-page habitat conservation plan that I've been going back and forth with for U.S. Fish and Wildlife. The property is now valued by the county assessor at $35,200, almost a 50% reduction in value. That's not damage. I'm not sure what is. The construction costs. If I had been able to build my home 6-7 months ago, like most other people who started when I started have been able to do, construction costs have now risen $10,000 to $20,000. Interest rates have risen, adding tens of thousands of dollars to the life of my mortgage. Banks may not be interested in loaning me money when there's a conservation easement looming over the property. They don't want that to have to deal with a third party. And all of this, and I still can't build due to a moving target. My HCP's finally made it to Washington, D.C., where it can be there for 3 to 6 months, but everything I've been told seems to triple. I maintain that the county has at the very least damaged, if not flat out, taken my property and the right to build a home on it. This is a clear violation of the state constitution and is putting the county and all the taxpayers of the county at risk to a lawsuit if they come out on the losing end. If the county had an HCP, which I believe they've been talking about and started and stopped since 2006, 2007, I realize since before many of you, I wouldn't be in this boat. But right now, you people are in the position, you're the ones who can make this happen. But I feel that due to a lack of past action, I shouldn't continue to be punished and not be able to build a home on a parcel designated 1 house per 5 acres. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, do you have anything written down that you want to provide? Any documentation or anything? Or not?
Not today. I can bring in later. I have lots of stuff, but thank you.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Mr. Tibetan. Jan, come on up, please.
My name is Jan Tibetan. I'm Todd's dad, and I'm here to support Todd. I'm the one that got him into this project. And I won't repeat what Todd said, but I want you to get clear in your mind, and that is that to build a residence on Rochester Prairie, 2,000 square feet, we have to go all the way to Washington, D.C., and it has to be published in the National Register, and then comments made to nationwide for building a residence on Rochester Prairie. Now, if that is the ultimate in stupidity, I ask you to give me an example of similar idiocracy. Now, I hope that you will take this into consideration and get that blessed HCP that the county has been working on for a long period of time. I remember last summer they said, the staff and commissioners said that they would have it by December. Then it was next spring. Now we don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the process. But it is absolutely ludicrous and stupidity that we can't get something going. Now, we will be back next week or later. We want to tackle this issue of constitutionality. The state constitution says that you cannot take or damage personal property without just compensation. And I think it's about time that the commissioners and the county act as a buffer between all this stupidity on the environmental permits and then put some sense into this. And I believe that the county should ask for an analysis by the Attorney General and then figure out when is enough enough. How long can you keep on doing this and taking property and property rights? I've worked hard and I would like to have my kids close to me as I get older. And we are prepared to do it. We have saved for it. We have worked for it. And it's all going down the hill because of these stupid rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benton. Thank you very much. If I bugger up the name, apologies ahead of time. Henry Hallweger? Did I get it right? Yes. Oh, yay. Thank you, sir.
Speak at all. But I happened to see this thing here. It says planning for the future. Well, you're looking at a man here who is a real dreamer. I live about 3 blocks from the fire department, fire 8, I think, is the fire department there. And I was walking on the Chehalis Western Trail there, the magnificent trail that we have right by Eagle Lake. And it was years and years since I had walked in that area because I had hurt my leg pretty badly, and I was hurt pretty badly, so I couldn't walk very much. So anyway, I got out in that area, and I was walking on that marvelous trail by the Eagle Lake there, and it was just incredible. It was just incredible with the beauty and things like that. And then I'm a wanderer. I got off the trail a little bit and meandered through where the Buddhist, Olympia Buddhist Center is, and I was looking at all those magnificent trees that they have there, and it was just wonderful. As I was meandering down that street, though, I was kind of saddened by the trees that were coming down. Of course, we have no control of that. With all the people coming in, they have to make room for their children, of course. But as I was meandering through there, a thought came to me. I saw all this compacted grassland there that people use for the children. Their children kind of move away and things like that. And I was just thinking, I was just looking at these marvelous pictures in the back where the farm is, and you see all the grass there. Well, that grass is a multipurpose type of entity. It has all kinds of different weeds and things like that. And of course, the weeds are really naturalized wildflowers. And I was thinking, as I was looking at some of these houses, as I was meandering there, that there was a lot of areas there that had horses and things like that were pretty compacted. But I think in the future, if we're going to really have an impact, I mean a real impact, we're going to have to start thinking about ways of kind of introducing maybe the type of wildflowers and weeds and things like that can be compacted to a degree, or maybe certain areas set aside in these little small areas here and mowed, and then the kids can kind of play on that area, but be aware that it's pretty sensitive. But anyway, that's my thought, and that was what brought it up. Thank you, and I'm a dreamer.
Thank you, Mr. Holweger. Scott Merriman. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Merriman. I live at 2321 Sherm Loop. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. I've been before the board on this specific issue. I'm here again to talk about dangerous dogs in our neighborhood. We have filed reports with Animal Control Services. We have provided comments to this board. Our neighbors have met with Commissioner Hutchins as in his role with Animal Control Services. We've written letters to the landowner or the dog owner. We have had conversations with the owner. We have called 911, and this has been going on now, I think, for about 3 years. The dog has been declared a dangerous dog, and to no avail, nothing has happened yet. On Saturday, while I was not home, the dog was at large again and crawled underneath our fence, came up onto our porch, and cornered my wife in the corner of the porch. She yelled and screamed at the dog to leave, and he finally did leave. She called 911 as you suggested, and guess what? They said, call Animal Control Services. Somebody's got to get this right. Something has to happen sooner than later. What we're looking for is for the county to fund Animal Control Services. We're looking for you to enforce your existing ordinance. We're looking for a restoration of public safety in our neighborhood. We shouldn't have to wait for an unfortunate situation where yet another dog goes to the hospital because there's been multiple attacks there, or one of us ends up in medical care because of the dog owner's inability to control that dog physically or by voice control. Something has to happen now. You have enough information in the record here that I think we need to start worrying about liability in the future moving forward. it's time to take action. And I look forward to you or your staff following up with me on what those next steps will be.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Merriman. And Micah Anderson.
Good afternoon. I'm
Good
Mike
afternoon.
Anderson. I was having this nice little graph that it shows the hierarchy of governmental structure in Thurston County. And I need to bring you an attention. I think you might have a fox in your hen house. One of the requirements of the prosecuting attorney is to review all the statutory bond requirements of all county officials and county positions. And it's required under RCW 36-16-060, where it describes the oath and bonds of deputies, and it doesn't say deputy prosecutors, deputy sheriffs, it's all deputies, anyone who's deputized working underneath any official in that official capacity. Oaths and bonds of deputies shall be filed in the offices in which the oaths and bonds of their principals are required to be filed. Now, we all understand that the bond for our prosecuting attorney, John Tatum, which is actually the blanket policy bond, which I believe all of you are on the same bond, if I'm correct, is in the possession of risk management here for Thurston County. In the course of contacting risk management to verify bonding for a few of their deputy prosecutors, a Jane Futherman is claiming to be one of your deputy prosecutors, and another one I looked into was a Rosemary Hewitson, who's also claiming to be a deputy prosecutor, to ensure that they met their statutory bond requirements before they assumed the duties of a prosecuting attorney. And it turns out that they don't have that bonding requirement. Now, again, it's the prosecutor's office to review these bonding requirements, and so I'm just curious what other bonding requirements the prosecutor may be overlooking. I have copies of the email I'd like to share with you so everyone's on the same page about the bonding requirements that are not being fulfilled by these deputies, prosecuting attorneys, for example. And I'm sure there might be other statutory requirements that they're not fulfilling in order to act in the capacity of a prosecuting attorney, which could lead to a lot of civil damages, which is why having a bond is so imperative. Because I do believe if a claim is on your blanket policy bond and that may be lost for the actions of an insubordinate, it could jeopardize everyone's future in this room. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you want to leave that here with the county manager.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And the last one that has signed up is Tenino City Councilman John O'Callahan.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. As unaccustomed to public speaking as I am, I'll make this short. I'm here today to talk to everybody about the Tenino Depot Museum. I am the president. A few months ago, we had the Travel Channel come out, and they did a whole day worth of filming. Well, the results of that will be shown this Thursday on the Travel Channel, Mysteries of the Museum at 10 o'clock. So mark it down on your calendar. Watch something that's never happened for Tenino before, where we actually got national news, good news, and then after the show, come on down and visit our museum. We're open Saturdays and Sundays, or we also, through Facebook, our Facebook page, Tenino Depot Museum, you can set up tours so that we will be there to make sure somebody will be there for you. We've done school tours many, many times, and it's always a lot of fun for us. But remember, this Thursday, 10 o'clock, the Travel Channel, Mysteries of the Museum, we will be on. The title for us is Wooden Dollars. Thank you very much. You all have a great day.
Thank you, Counselor. Now, he was the last one to sign up, but if somebody's coming subsequent to that or has changed their mind, would like to approach and speak, you have an opportunity to do that now. Anyone? Anyone? Ooh. Yes.
Eric Martin. I'm a resident of the city of Olympia and the incoming manager for Lewis County. And I just want to say thank you to Romero and thank you to commissioners and the staff for welcoming me in here today and sort of giving me a peek behind the curtain. It was very informative and helpful. And I'm probably going to have to leave your meeting early, so I just wanted to be able to say thank you to all of you. And I really appreciate it. And on behalf of Lewis County, if there's anything that our county and Thurston County can do together, please don't feel free to reach out to me and let's work on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now we're at the point of the agenda, item number 2, which is the county manager's update.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a couple of updates for you. Let me take you back to the June 26 board meeting where you have a testimony from 8 residents, and it was related to the hillside farms located at 1120 143rd Avenue Southeast in South Thurston County. The testimony was related to some unpermitted activities on this particular farm. With wedding events have been held in the last few months, and that was the gist of their testimony. I'd like to follow up as to what the county has taken, the steps that we have taken to address this matter, not just from June 26, but also from for a few months back. So let me begin just to state the recent enforcement actions that we have taken on this property. We have issued notice of violations on March 22nd, 2018, May 24, 2018, and June 11, 2018. The March 22nd notice of violation listed the various building, fire, land use, and road encroachment violations. The May 24 notice specifically identified the building and fire code violations as needed immediate attention. The June 11 notice of violation again specified building and fire code violations as outstanding and indicated that a civil penalty could be assessed for subsequent events within the structure. As of recent, similar events were held on June 29, June 30, and July 1st. And it's not clear from the county whether these events were held inside this current structure. However, it was clear that the 10 events permitted without land use permit within the agritourism overlay district has been exhausted for 2018. On July 3rd, last week, we sent another 4th notice of violation. And the intent of this violation is to inform the owner and operator that all commercial events must be ceased on the property until proper permits are obtained, and to inform the owner that any subsequent commercial event activities on the property, whether it's within the structure or outside, that will mean the entire property, shall result in an assessment of a civil penalty pursuant to the Thurston County Code 26.20050. Also on that letter, we stated that the county reserves the right under Thurston County Code 26.05040, parentheses 10, to request that the prosecuting attorney seek a temporary restraining order in order to address these violations. The outstanding permits that are required from this particular operator is 1, a special use permit, a reasonable use permit, release of a moratorium, for a building permit, fire permit, construction permit, and encroachment permit. So we actively monitoring the situation, and I will keep you posted as to the next steps we might be taking.
And since, do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
I do have
Go
one.
ahead, yeah.
Was there anything to address? I'm under the understanding that they bulldozed about 2,000 small trees, Douglas fir trees that were a required replanting in a sensitive area. Did that get addressed at all in there?
Yeah, we're in the process, and that's part of the moratorium that was imposed on logging.
Okay.
And that was managed by the Department of Natural Resources. So, and again, the county is coordinating with all the different entities as to how we can take the next steps on that.
Thank you.
And since he received, the landowner received a letter saying you need to address these issues and not have any events, public events, has there been a public event since he received notice?
The last event that we have noticed is July 1st, 2018. And the letter was sent out to him on July 3rd.
July 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The second item that I have, and this is a little bit of on a lighter note, every year we have across the county we have a friendly competition, and this is to raise a peanut butter and jelly jars, and this is to help the Thurston County Food Bank to help those kids there on their free and reduced lunch during the school days. considering that those kids are going on vacation and don't have access to those lunches during the school, they seek out the help from the food bank, and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich seems to be a hit. So this year, 12 offices and departments participating on this event, which we raised, including the Commissioner's office, by the way, which we raised 1,832 pounds. That will be 29,313 ounces of peanut butter and jelly for the food bank. I am pleased to announce the Commissioner's office was the winner with 160 pounds, 2,560 ounces, and Human Resources was close second. So the prize for the Commissioner's office for winning this event, you have the opportunity to proudly show this wonderful trophy in front of the office for a whole year. Until next year, another office or department will unseat the Commissioner's office. So congratulations, and this is all for a good cause.
Yeah. And for HR, yes. 1,800 pounds of peanut butter. That is impressive. That's just flat impressive.
Peanut butter and jelly, both
and
combined.
Jelly.
Yeah.
Commissioner, anything?
No.
That's all I have for you.
No.
But wait a minute. Now, Mr. Peanut had a crank on it. Was that a crank on the side?
Actually works.
So show us.
I don't have any actual peanuts to.
Oh, yeah, you put a peanut in there and it shells it?
Yeah, you actually put the peanuts.
Oh, it's like a
on his
nutcracker.
head and just crank it and comes on the side.
That's funny.
Fresh ground peanut butter.
I don't know where you found it. That's funny. Thank you for that.
We may want to avoid using the trophy for those purposes, Commissioner.
Pistachio. All right, number 3 on the agenda is the consent items A through L. Is there a motion?
Yes, there is a motion. Move to approve the resolution. No. I move to approve consent items A through L.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Second. Yes, aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
I have to make some more notes here.
Difficult to change roles, isn't it? Yeah. Department item number 4, Central Services. Martin Casey is here to discuss authorizing Central Services Director for RFPs and such. Martin?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Martin Casey, your Central Services Director, and we are here today seeking your approval to advertise a request for proposals for a criminal justice case management system. This IT project represents a strong partnership between the Prosecutor's Office, Public Defense, and Central Services. As you are aware, the county's prosecuting office has an aging case management system that no longer meets their business needs. Public Defense does not have a system that tracks their caseload well at all. This results in inefficiencies in both offices with tracking and processing. Working together, the two offices have determined that a unified case management system containing specific modules for each office would significantly improve their business processes. This collaborative approach will allow for each office to share common data, yet perform specific tasks independently and confidentially. In this RFP, we will solicit proposals and select the best vendor to meet the business needs of the two offices. We are hoping to purchase an existing system that is commercially available without major customization, that is in use by other similar agencies of our type and complexity, and has been proven to work effectively over time. We will also seek to integrate with the case management system currently being used or being developed by pretrial services. And representatives from both offices will be involved in both the solicitation and evaluation and implementation processes. Funding for this project is already provided for in the Central Services IT Application Reserves Fund, which the board established in 2016, and ongoing maintenance costs will be charged out as part of their ongoing future IT rates in the new IT department, and some of those costs will be offset by the charges that are currently being assessed for the prosecutor's existing system that will be phased out. Be happy to answer any other questions. I also have Project Manager Scott Florsk here with me today if you have technical questions.
I'm not going to ask any questions that would show I don't know completely the topic. So it sounds pretty technical to me, and I'm sure you and your staff have a good handle on it.
Thank you.
So I'm prepared to move ahead if you so desire, sir.
Well, we discussed this last week. We discussed it this morning, and I just want to reiterate that in the future, it's hopeful that TCSO, the Sheriff's Office, will be able to integrate into this management system, case management system, where they have direct contact with the prosecutor's office?
I'd have to check if they've been involved in the specifications today. It sounds like they can be, yes. Short answer would be yes.
But not now, but
Not
in
yet.
the future?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have no questions, Martin. Is there a motion?
There is a motion, and thank you, Casey, for not knowing completely every little thing and having to refer to staff. That made me feel better.
You're very welcome.
I would move to authorize the Central Services Director to advertise a request for proposals, an RFP, for a criminal justice case management system, and further authorize the Central Services Director to negotiate and award a contract to the successful proposer in an amount not to exceed $500,000.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Item number 5 on the agenda, Public Works, setting a public hearing. Tim Wilson, come up and talk about the parrot feather.
Not today.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. As you may recall, staff has recommended a 3% annual rate increase for both Long Lake Management District and Lake Lawrence Management District for the 2019-2020 calendar years. The rate increases have been presented and discussed by the steering committees for both LMDs, and both steering committees are in support of the increases as proposed. The next procedural step would be to set a public hearing to accept public comment regarding the rate increases. So with that, staff is requesting that the board set a public hearing for Tuesday, August 7th, 2018 at 3 p.m. to consider public comments on proposed rate increases for Long Lake and Lake Lawrence Management Districts.
Yes.
And I would guess this has been authorized, proposed by both those management district boards, and they've asked that this move forward. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a motion?
I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, August 7th, 2018 at 3 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, room 280, building 1, to accept and consider public comments on proposed rate increases for Long Lake Management District and Lake Lawrence Management District.
The second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. That was 5A. This is 5B, on-call engineering and professional consultant services. Rick Thomas. There you are, Rick.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
In order to augment and supplement staff's technical abilities, Public Works solicited requests for qualifications for a wide range of professional services, including civil engineering, transportation engineering, geotechnical investigation and analysis, cultural, historical, environmental, material testing and inspection, construction contract administration, solid waste facilities, water and sewer utilities, stormwater, and other associated fields. 28 firms proposed, and a committee of Public Works and stormwater utility staff selected the top firms to place under contract and thus be able to respond quickly to Public Works needs. The roster will be created upon execution of the contracts and will allow the staff to quickly obtain needed services in a variety of areas, helping keep Public Works projects on schedule. Work will be defined on a task basis for each scope of work needed. The contracts are proposed to be for an initial period of 2 years, with an option to extend them for up to an additional 4 years, for a total of 6 years maximum. Each contract is independent and will be judged separately for extension as appropriate for the Public Works needs. We'd like to move to approve entering into on-call engineering and professional consulting contracts with AHBL Incorporated, Herrera Environmental Consultants, KPFF, KPG Interdisciplinary Design, OTAC, and SCJ Alliance, each up to $500,000 each, and HDR Engineering and Landau Associates up to $1 million each, and authorize the Director of Public Works to negotiate and execute each contract up to the indicated limits negotiate and execute contract amendments up to a 20% additional contingency, approve optional yearly extensions as deemed appropriate, and negotiate and execute individual task orders for specific consulting services. You have any questions?
Yes. When you use just letters and no name attached to those letters, is that the legal group, the legal name of that particular group that we might be soliciting from?
These are, as written, are the legal names for each of the companies.
Okay. And then because of the very complicated issues involving each one of these areas of expertise, if we were to keep staff on hand with all of those abilities in the list of expertise, I guess, if you will, it would cost us much more to maintain staff with that type of background than go out and contract this. Is that right?
That is correct. There will be many services that are provided by very special individuals, specialists.
Okay, good enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is this the one you asked this morning, Gary, about the total amount?
Yeah,
Or
but
did you ask, somebody asked about what the total amount was?
the total amount does end up to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million.
$5 million.
That is correct.
And this includes fish passages?
Yes, it does. Well, it includes consultants who could do design work for
Some of the
fish
work.
passage.
Okay.
Yes.
So our local paper was looking to see where the leadership on fish passages were, and I want to know we have been there and we continue on with that endeavor.
That was a part of the selection process, yes.
Great. Thank you very much, Rick. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir, there is.
Okay, man.
I would move to approve entering into on-call engineering and professional consulting contracts with AHBL Incorporated, Herrera Environmental Consultants, KPFF, and KPG Interdisciplinary Design, OTAK, that's OTAK, and SCJ Alliance, up to $500,000 each. HDR Engineering and Lando Associates, up to $1 million each. And authorize the Director of Public Works to negotiate and execute each contract up to the indicated limits, including amendments for up to a 20% additional contingency, and approve optional yearly extensions as deemed appropriate.
I missed that. Can you read it again? I second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. That motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Number 6, CPED. That's Community Planning and Economic Development. Approve interagency agreement. Jeremy Davis. There you are. That was
Good
fast.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeremy Davis with Community Planning and Economic Development. Today I'm here to request the Board approve the Director of CPED to sign an interagency agreement on behalf of the Board for receipt of a buildable lands grant from the state. The 2018 Buildable Lands Grant Program provides funding to support the county's work in fulfilling a requirement of the Washington State Growth Management Act. In the state's fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, the state allocated $1.4 million for non-competitive buildable lands grants. Thurston County's share of this is $152,000, and there's a general scope of work that outlines all the deliverables for the grant attached to the agreement. This is Phase 1 funding. We do anticipate that the Department of Commerce will request further funding from the state legislature for the next biennial state budget in time for the county to receive additional funding to complete the buildable lands report, which is due in the end of June 2021. Thurston County is one of 7 counties in Washington State that is required under the Growth Management Act to have that buildable lands report done prior to its comprehensive plan periodic update. The other counties include Whatcom, Snohomish, King, Kitsap, Pierce, and Clark counties, and these are all the higher growth counties in the state. As I said, our next report is due by June 2021. This is 3 years prior to the next comprehensive plan periodic update, which is due in 2024 in June. About $20,000 of that funding will be retained by the county to fund county staff project management activities and participation-related state agency studies that are being conducted right now, and $132,000 would then be given to Thurston Regional Planning Council to complete the required work. Now, TRPC is has very specialized knowledge in this. They've been doing this work for the county since the 1970s, and they've actually completed the previous 3 buildable lands reports, and those were put out in 2002, 2007, and 2014. Buildable lands reports were first required in state law in 1997 under the Growth Management Act. As I said, we're one of the fastest growing counties right now. We're about 276,000 folks, and over the next 30 or so years, and Vina can correct me if I'm wrong on this, there's a range between 310,000 and about 440,000 at the very high end that we're going to have to plan for over the next 25 years or so. The Buildable Lands Program in Thurston County really has to answer 3 growth-related questions. And the first is whether residential growth and development in the urban growth areas is occurring at the densities that we planned for in our comprehensive plans and that the cities have planned for in their comprehensive plans. The second is whether there's an adequate land supply within those urban growth area for that anticipated future growth in population. And the third is whether there's adequate land supply in the urban growth area for employment growth, and those are your commercial and industrial areas inside the UGA. In past, also, just in closing here, in past buildable lands and other planning grants, when unspent funding has come about, say other jurisdictions don't spend their full allocation under the grant, Commerce has made that available to other jurisdictions who can spend it, and so we are asking the board approve the director, or authorize the director to take in up to 35% over the original $152,000, just in case that funding does become available. And that funding would then be used to spend on more buildable lands reports and work that we need for that. And I have Vina Tabbitt here to answer any technical questions because she's really the expert in this. So.
I have no questions. Very good, sir.
No, but we can't let Vina just sit. Are you going to come up for the next one then, perhaps? The next item? We'll get there. All right, so I have no questions, Jeremy, at this point, but don't go away. Is there a motion?
There is a motion. I would move to approve an interagency agreement with the Washington State Department of Commerce for the 2018 Buildable Lands Grant to receive grant funding in the amount of $152,000 for Phase 1 work on the 2021 Buildable Lands Report, and to authorize the Community Planning and Economic Development Director to execute the agreement and all amendments, and authorize the Director to add additional funds up to 35% of $152,000 should more grant funding become available.
Okay, and second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 6B, contract with the TRPC, the Thurston Regional Planning Council, to complete work required for the 2018 Buildable Lands Grant. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yes, Commissioners, again, so this is a follow-up item to the one we just had on accepting the grant funds. This is the contract with TRPC for the $132,000 portion of the grant to actually complete the work on it. And I do want to note, and I didn't say this before, all the funds that we receive with this grant and that we then give to TRPC do need to be expended by June 30th of 2019, which is the end of the state fiscal year. So again, we're one of 7 counties that have to do a buildable lands report for under the Growth Management Act. And TRPC does have specialized knowledge for this, again, for Thurston County, since they've been preparing population projections and buildable lands analysis since the 1970s and have completed the 3 previous buildable lands report for the county. Like with the grant itself, we are requesting the board also authorize the CPED director, Mr. Josh Cummings, to allocate up to 35% more under this contract should more grant funding become available. So, and that would only be done should more grant funding become available. There wouldn't be any county general fund involved with this.
All right. Questions?
No.
No questions. Vina, do you have anything to add? All right. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to approve a contract with the Thurston Regional Planning Council to complete work for the 2018 Buildable Lands Grant for an amount of $132,000 for Phase 1 work on the 2021 Buildable Lands Report, and to authorize the Community Planning and Economic Development Director to execute the contract and all amendments, and authorize the Director to amend the contract to add additional funding not to exceed 35% of the $132,000 in funding is available under the Department of Commerce 2018 Buildable Lands Grant to Thurston County.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
You too.
Item number 7, Public Health and Social Services, set a public hearing. Chris Hawkins. Come on up, Chris.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Chris Hawkins. I'm a Program Manager with Public Health and Social Services, and I'm here to ask you to set a public hearing for change the Parks Code for Thurston County to prohibit use of tobacco, vaping, smoking in Thurston County parks and preserves and on trails here in Thurston County. As you know, smoking is the leading cause of preventable cause of death among Thurston County residents and across the United States. It remains a scourge in our communities in terms of health. Secondhand smoke is likewise highly harmful to the health of our communities. And so we had briefed you earlier this year on some of our tobacco prevention activities that we're doing at the health department and with other counties around the region. And we asked you at that time to consider some ways to add some additional protections for Thurston County residents. It's still a common activity in Thurston County, smoking, about 1 in 7 adults. And when you look at tobacco, vaping combined among young people in the community, it's about 1 in 4. So it's still very common, and we want to try to set a norm for our community that exposure to secondhand smoke is not acceptable, and we don't want people to be harmed by that. So we were asking you at that time to consider ways to strengthen the protections for local residents from secondhand smoke. And one way to do that was to extend the already existing Thurston County campus smoke and tobacco-free policy to our parks and preserves and trails here in Thurston County. And shortly after that hearing, at a subsequent agenda-setting meeting, the commissioners, you indicated to us that you wanted us to move forward with that additional extension of the protections against secondhand smoke. So we have prepared an ordinance for your consideration and for the community to hear about and comment on to be approved, we hope, in August of this year. And we're asking that you set a hearing for August 14th, 3 p.m. to allow that ordinance to be voted on.
All right. Go ahead.
Did I miss, did this include marijuana?
It does. We would have marijuana mentioned in the ordinance, similar to how the current campus policy states. Even though that is already prohibited by state law against public use, this is a way to affirm that in local code to say that we don't accept public use of marijuana. Similar reasons, it has secondhand smoke associated with it or secondhand vapor, and that can be harmful to people around it.
Thank you, Chris.
As we're going through this process of the public hearing and receiving comment back, it just dawned on me. I hadn't looked at the verbiage that I received this morning yet, but you can't smoke within 25 feet of a doorway, but we are a campus-free, tobacco-free on the entire campus.
Correct.
When it comes to the trails and preserves, is it the 25-foot law or rule, or can they just step right off the pavement and vape and step right back on and then we're safe again?
Technically, if they're off of county property, off of the trail, outside of the park, they could still utilize those products. I think what the code does, though, is it gives the local residents something to stand on when they want to say, you know, it's not right for you to be smoking here, and it's affecting me, or it's affecting my children or my family. So this is a way for the community to really voluntarily step up to caring for each other and not allowing people to be exposed to secondhand smoke.
I completely support the concept. It's honorable and it needs to be done, in my opinion. But there's going to be those that'll say, "Ha, and I'm back on the trail again." But I'm just wondering. And I love the use of the word scourge. Yeah, it is a scourge. Any other comment? Nope.
Nope.
Is there a motion?
Yes. I would move to set a public hearing for August 14th, 2018 at 3 p.m. in room 280, Building 1 of Thurston County Courthouse, to amend the Thurston County Parks Code, Chapter 10.76, to include prohibiting of smoking and use of marijuana, tobacco, and vaping products in Thurston County parks and preserves and on Thurston County trails.
Nice second. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Number 8, Commissioners and County Managers items. We have a resolution to adopt a budget amendment. Robin?
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the record, my name is Robin Campbell. I'm the Assistant County Manager and Budget Director for Thurston County. And today I am requesting that you approve the budget amendment number 6 to the 2017-2018 biennium county budget. This amendment, for the most part, is technical. This is the time of year every year when we update our fund balances. We've closed the fiscal year for 2017. We know what the actual beginning fund balance was rather than the estimate that we based the budget on. And we go through the entire list of funds that the county has, some over 70 funds, and we adjust the beginning fund balance for each of those. So that's part of this amendment. There are also amendments in many of our offices and departments. Again, most of them are technical, such as we have purchased a few copy machines, and there are accounting rules that we have to follow to record those. They have no impact on fund balance. In this amendment, we are also proposing the addition of mental health services, additional hours for inmates in our county jail, and in accordance with the staffing study that the board recently received on staffing in our jail, the board has authorized an additional 7 FTEs, 3 sergeants, 3 correction deputies, and a correction technician that will be paid from the detention sales tax fund. Other items in this amendment, we have received a few new grants, such as grants for the elimination of noxious weeds, and we are increasing funding from the REAP fund to cover costs in our culvert program. We are also, in accordance with state law, dividing our REAP fund into 2 parts. Again, another technical item. REAP 1 and REAP 2 will be accounted for separately. So those look like large dollar amounts, but they really net out to 0. That really is the bulk of this amendment. It's not a big amendment, but I do ask your approval on it and would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Yeah.
Possibly for the viewing public, should they want to view these amendments, where would they go to do that?
So we have the amendments posted on the budget website, on the county's web pages, and if someone were to look, I think that the link is at the bottom of our web page.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Is there a motion?
Yes. I would move to approve a resolution to adopt budget amendment number 6, including attachments A, B, and C.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion carries. Thank you. Now we're at 8B, Commissioner's Report. You can report on things you've done over the last week, which is kind of a late week.
Yeah. Well, today, I'll comment that today we had a very productive meeting with the Washington State Fish and Wildlife folks as we work towards concluding our habitat conservation plan. I know that's been brought up today, and we are getting closer. I would like to reflect my support for the citizen comments today about what is really enough. What is enough taking? What is damaging when you reduce someone's property? And I would like to get that answer myself. What is enough? Whether it be preventing someone from the use of their land, is 10% enough? Is 90% enough? What does constitute a damaging issue involving private property that was brought to our attention today? And another issue that was brought up was inadequate funding for an example, animal services. So without getting into that, I just want to use an example of how the county is oftentimes required to provide a service without adequate funding. So in the state of Washington, in Thurston County, marijuana is now a quasi-legal product, I guess, and there are taxes collected on that in Thurston County. The state collected almost $15 million last year in marijuana tax just in Thurston County. The state refunded us less than $150,000 back to the county to deal with all of the permitting and the process and the zoning and the courts and the police and everything that we have to deal with. They gave us back less than 1%. So it's a problem. I'd like the public to know about that. If you know a legislator, possibly mention it to them. That doesn't hardly seem fair or possible that we would be able to do that. And so to keep this short, I'm just going to let that comment ride and sink in. But I do mention that even when it comes to animal control, we don't even have near enough resources to deal with these issues adequately. And so we do the best we can with what we have, and we always strive to do better. And for those of you out there viewing, if you have any comments that you could let us know, maybe we could do this or do that, I'd certainly like to hear from you. Thank you.
So Thurston County receives less than 1% of the state revenue just in Thurston County alone.
Just Thurston County. I suppose that applies to other counties that are doing the same thing.
Does not seem very equitable.
No.
I
would agree with you, sir.
Thank you. Last Friday, I attended the TRPC. That's the Thurston Regional Planning Council. That's one of my councils or committees that I sit on. There's about 25 plus people on that council, comprised of county, city representation throughout the county, intercity transit, library, Timberland Regional Library, school districts, public utilities districts, fire commissions, and citizens at large. It's a huge group dealing with various transportation projects throughout the county and applying for grants, receiving grants, and dispersing it around. Very, very complex, but very good progressive work. And yesterday, the July 9th, on Monday, I attended the Community Investment Partnership. And again, it's representation from the county and each city and United Way in dispersing monies to various nonprofits for basic needs throughout the entire county, to be like, for example, food, utilities, housing, transportation, and such. It's very profound work, but there's so many The need is high, the funding is low. So it's difficult, but we go through that painstaking work of divvying out money. Yesterday was not a divvying out of money day. That's coming up later in the year, but we had that 2.5-hour meeting yesterday. And that's all I have. Now we're on the agenda for the county manager. We'll review stuff coming up.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Let me walk you through your combined schedule for the upcoming week. The meetings that are going to be highlighting are where at least 2 commissioners are present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars, and those will not be part of my report. This afternoon at the 3:30, the regular Board of Health meeting has been canceled. Tomorrow, July 11th, at 1:15, you have the opportunity to welcome new county employees. At 12 and noon, you have a briefing on the economic forecast. This is presented by Dr. Steve Lurch from the state's economic forecast office. At 2 in the afternoon, July 11, you have a briefing on the open space program applications. At 2:30 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing related to the solid waste facility assessment. Nothing on your combined schedule on July 12, which is Thursday. Nothing on your combined schedule on Friday, July 13. Moving on to Monday, July 16th, you have a team building exercise at 9 in the morning, which that will give you the opportunity to celebrate human resources as the second closest on the peanut butter and jelly challenge. 10:30 in the afternoon on July 16th, you will have the opportunity to have a groundbreaking ceremony on one of the projects related to the fish passage removal barriers. 3 in the afternoon, you will have your regular Thurston Tribes Coordinated Council, and that will put us to Tuesday, July 17th. We'll come back here and review the agenda for that day. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you. I'm looking to see where that fish passage you talked about, where was that?
That is going to be in Hunter Point, 8840 Hunter Point Road, Northwest.
Okay, and what day is that?
That is July 16th, Monday. At 10:30. That will be on site.
Okay, got it. Looking forward to that. Thank you. Commissioner Edwards, anything for the good of the order?
Is the paper of record going to get notified about that? They were curious about fish.
We'll make sure that we send a news release about that event.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to leave them in the dark. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And just a final welcome to Don Grummer. Welcome. And we'll see you probably tomorrow at the welcoming. And with that, we're going to close. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I would move to adjourn today's meeting.
A second? We're adjourned. Yay. Thank you all.